That's a piece by McNally Smith School of Music student Ryan Horton here on KFAI, and his music will be featured along with Michael Holloway, who has also joined us this morning at the Art-Inspired Music Project of McNally Smith School of Music. It's in the gallery, which is right when you walk into the school. We learned that together this morning. And we're also joined by William Franklin, who's an instructor of liberal arts and humanities over at the school, and he had this idea. I want to ask Ryan a little bit more about the piece we just heard. And one thing that I learned off mic is there's a great booklet that talks about this project, the Art-Inspired Music Project. It introduces you to the visual artists and to the composers who created music based on their pieces. But I had no idea that the piece the one you just heard that Ryan created was actually based on a painting that is very large in scale. And now that I know that, it makes a lot of sense with that piece. So how did you, because you did capture a greatness of scale with that piece, how did you go about, what do you think does that for me as a listener, Ryan, that I get that it makes sense that it's a large painting?
You know, I think as far as the connection to art, the one thing that we tried to push the hardest, or at least Billy really tried to push the hardest about this project, is the connection of the different mediums art and saying that there is only one art. So in that aspect, when I began creating it, I think the reason it captures it is because there was no way I could really escape it. You know, I didn't actually know myself how large it was when I began creating it even, so it really speaks about the actual content of the painting itself, and how I don't think that when you create something you can I don't think you ever really escape where it came from or what it's made of, you know. And I think the reason it captured it so effectively was that it wasn't really me that was in the process of doing that. I think the painting and just kind of the magical aspect of composing and writing, and for me in a very spiritual sense, having that connection really allowed that to translate so clearly, and is the reason that I write music in the first place. So it's awesome.
So Michael, you did a piece in 2 movements about the Guthrie, and Ryan, you did this painting. What has this process done for you now that, Michael, you'll be looking at other buildings, and Ryan, you'll be looking at paintings? Tell me about that.
Well, it's a really eye-opening thing, and it was a wonderful project, and I know both of us are very thankful for
Absolutely.
Billy and just his work that he put in. But it's true, I do look at buildings differently now, and now when I see a building, I somehow try and translate what that sounds like in music. And this project has just been a wonderful experience in really just opening up my mind to the idea that there is one art and that they all work together in some form. Sometimes you gotta look at it in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree, and I think it really allowed me to make that step to seeing the world, as Michael was saying, more in a harmony and unison, and having that be a part of my own experience of writing a piece specifically in that ideal, how it allowed me to make that step and have and show me that my own material, I'm capable of having that understanding within my own life. So I was very, very thankful for that.
Well, William, I'd like to ask you about the other composers who aren't here with us this morning, and tell us a little bit more about how long the project's going to be running if we can't make it on Saturday for the public reception, what the hours are, when we can catch it. And you mentioned that it's part of the art crawl in St. Paul. So all of that in 35 seconds.
Okay, well,
Just
yes,
teasing.
I'll start by saying that I want to thank you, Pam, and on behalf of Alex Berglund, Maureen Lucas, Gabe Moore, Adam Conrad, J. Anthony Allen, John Kent, and Gregory Rees, which are the other composers, the artists, Laura Andrews, Alan Brewer, Rhea Papas, Michael McCall, Brian Kimman, Alonso Sierralta, Luis from the Guthrie, Lawrence from Cathedral St. Paul, and Diane from Minneapolis Park. I also want to thank the Composers Forum, who sponsored this in a way. And
The American Composers Forum.
Yeah, they help us a lot. And my compadre, Chris Cunningham, who is the head of music composition at McNally Smith College of Music.